Breaking news, the men and women's NCAA basketball tournaments canceled due to the spread of coronavirus. It's a huge impact on Indianapolis and Indiana teams.
Every business downtown knows the month of March is gigantic.
The economic fallout, coronavirus precautions are taking a toll on businesses that depend on the influx of sports fans to downtown Indianapolis, the way stores and restaurants are coping.
So the first ruling of this brand new IndyCar season doesn't come from race officials or from up top. Instead, from inside the city building here in St. Pete. I'm Dave First, the future of the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Coming up.
This is breaking news from RTV6, working for you.
Breaking news now at 5, no March Madness. The season is over. With this statement, the NCAA cancels the men's and women's basketball tournaments due to the spread of coronavirus. It's a very big news day. The Big Ten NCAA tournaments canceled, and we're waiting for a news conference with Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett and the Marion County Health Department Director. We will bring that to you live when it happens.
But first, we need to direct your attention to the weather. Rain and thunderstorms are spreading across the state at this hour.
We need to get right to Storm Team 6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory tracking the severe weather risk. Kevin.
And I start by saying there are no warnings in the state of Indiana, so no severe storms. There is a tornado watch just south of our viewing area, just south of Bedford and Mitchell down to the Ohio River. Let's show you some thunderstorms. Many of you hearing rumbles of thunder, getting a good downpour of rain from Bedford to Brownstown to Seymour. That will go to North Vernon as well. The severe threat will be in the southern third of the state, at least the highest risk. We've got pockets of heavy downpour, Shelbyville to Rushville, Rockville to Greencastle, and here's the larger view. The threat for any strong storms to the north is minimal. The best chance would be Vincennes to North Vernon south this evening, and this will be all in the next few hours. That isolated tornado threat greatest in the southern portion of the state, closer to the Ohio River. And there's your marginal or low risk from Indianapolis to Bloomington, Columbus, and Nashville. South of that, threat will increase as you go toward the Ohio River. 7 o'clock tonight, a batch of showers, thunderstorms through the metro area, and I think the greatest threat at that point will have passed by 9 o'clock to the south. And then watch what happens overnight. This is the cooler, drier air sweeping in. Some sunshine tomorrow, but it becomes a temperature story over the next couple of days. I'll share that with you shortly.
And more monumental developments today as the coronavirus continues its spread here in Indiana and globally.
Huge sporting events canceled and more schools closing. But first, let's get to the numbers. In Indiana, we are now up to 13 confirmed cases. The state health department today confirmed a second case in Marion County.
And the Hancock County Sheriff's Department reported today a member of the jail staff tested positive for COVID-19. That person is at home and in self-quarantine. The counties with confirmed cases now are Adams, Boone, Hendricks, Howard, Johnson, Marion, Noble, and St. Joseph.
Globally, the pandemic has claimed the lives of 4,700 people. This map by Johns Hopkins University is tracking the daily developments. There are a total of more of 127,000 confirmed cases, but more than 68,000 people have recovered. Developments regarding coronavirus and its impact on our lives have been fast and furious today.
First, the cancellation of the men's Big Ten tournament moments before tip-off, and then less than an hour ago, the NCAA canceled the men's and women's basketball tournaments.
We have team coverage tonight on the huge impact to the Indianapolis community. We start with Brad Brown, live at a very quiet Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Brad.
Amanda and Mark, we were expecting to see about 15,000 people here tonight for the third session of the Big Ten tournament. IU Purdue were supposed to play this evening. That got canceled before noon today, and here in just the span of the last 30 minutes or so, the NCAA canceled its Division I men's and women's basketball tournaments. March Madness, as it would be, is canceled as well. They had held up really until yesterday that they were going to play in front of fans, but this statement coming out from NCAA President Mark Emmert really kind of pointing toward the safety of the players and the fans and everybody involved in this, that they decided to call it off. Now, this goes far beyond just the NCAA March Madness, the Division I men's and women's basketball tournaments. IU was going to play, Butler was going to play, the IU women's team was going to play. as well as the IUPUI women's team. This will apply also to Division II and Division III. The D2 tournament was supposed to have a regional here in town at UIndy. The Division III tournament was going to hold a regional up in Fort Wayne. This will also go beyond basketball season. The rest of the entire NCAA winter sports calendar and spring sports, the likes of baseball, softball, track and field and such, have been canceled as well. So essentially college sports as a whole for about the next 3 months are done. Earlier today, when the Big Ten called it quits, we got a chance to hear from Commissioner Kevin Warren.
And I've just found over my career, the more complicated decisions are, basically the answer is much more simple, and that is to always base your decisions on what is the right thing to do. And I strongly believe we have a fiduciary responsibility to our student athletes first and foremost, and our coaches, our administrators, and our fans to do what is right and to do what is fair.
The Big Ten really was kind of the first for this to happen today, and then all of the conferences followed in order. And then after about a 4-hour window is when the NCAA finally made their final move here to call it quits for this next 3 months earlier this afternoon. Now, of course, thousands of fans, along with all of the teams, players, bands, cheerleaders, had descended upon Indianapolis for this Big Ten men's basketball tournament this week. A lot of them have to make some big changes to their plans. We continue our team coverage with that story. Megan Sanctorum joins us from downtown. Hi, Megan.
Hey, Brad. Yeah, obviously this was going to be a very big weekend for the city. According to figures from Visit Indy, the Big Ten tournament this weekend was expected to bring in $15 million. Then the NCAA tournament later this month was going to bring in another additional $20 million. Now, fans and businesses in the area say they're not sure what to expect.
It's not the way some downtown businesses expected this weekend to go.
It's tough. Us as well as I'm sure every other local business downtown has stocked up for this weekend. We budget for it. We plan for it.
But those plans now changing as games are canceled and many fans from out of town get ready to head back home.
We use all fresh produce, so we have to slam on the brakes with what we were going to order versus what we're going to stock now.
Pearl Street Pizzeria and Pub is about a block away from Bankers Life Fieldhouse. The owner says right now, people aren't sure how to feel.
It's definitely new territory for us.
Outside, some fans say they understand the Big Ten's decision to cancel the tournament.
I definitely understand it. We don't really know what the potential is for the coronavirus, so the whole social distancing thing, probably better to be safe than sorry. Kind of try to get out in front of it, I think, is probably the best.
And this group from Michigan says they're going to make the most of their trip here and use the time to explore Indianapolis.
Disappointed, but still gonna party down here in Indy. It's a pretty nice city.
And that's exactly what these business owners hope happens.
And we're still going to be doing business as usual. We got our great food, great beer selection. So I guess that's all we can ask for everybody is come on in.
Now, as far as restaurants goes, owners that we spoke with say they pretty much are already doing everything they can when it comes to cleanliness. The only change they'll be making is working to make hand sanitizer more readily available for customers. Brad?
Megan, indeed, we've seen some fans actually coming here through Bankers Life Fieldhouse getting ticket refunds that were here for the Big Ten. If you have tickets for any of these events that have been canceled, sports or otherwise, point of purchase, check online for all that information as well. If you follow us on our digital platforms, as the day has gone on, more and more schools are canceling classes into the month of April. So we went to the IHSAA today as they offered some clarification on their upcoming championships, including the boys basketball regionals and the gymnastics state finals. As for the boys state tournament, for now, they will go on as planned. No tickets will be sold to the general public at these events, though. As for the basketball regionals, each school left will be given 75 tickets for immediate family, JV players, cheerleaders, and their bands. But others, including those not in the family, will be allowed to attend.
It's going to be extremely disappointing to a lot of our patrons and fans to not be able to go to the state championships. But we do need to protect everybody that's there. And I hate to say this, but there'll be people that'll try to sneak in. So we're going to lean on our principals and athletic directors to help us out with this.
The regionals will be held at 16 sites all over the state. Nearly 20 central Indiana schools among the 64 remaining. The gymnastics finals Saturday are at Ball State. No fans allowed in for that one. Only athletes, coaches, and staff. The IHSAA will have webcasts of everything streaming online this weekend, but Commissioner Cox said, listen, this is still a very fluid situation. There could be an entirely different decision made about all of this when Friday gets here. Now, IndyCar season begins this weekend down in St. Petersburg, Florida. The race will go on, but some major changes surrounding that event down there. More team coverage now as our Dave First joins us from Florida.
Well, it seems like the entire sports world has been in flux over the last 24 hours with now heavy speculation about the season opening event for the IndyCar Series here in St. Pete. But at 3 o'clock this afternoon, the mayor of St. Petersburg, who is a big fan of this series, has been coming here for the last 16 years, Rick Kreisman, saying that the race will happen this weekend. All a part of a very busy day inside the IndyCar paddock area, inside the track itself, as teams prepared for the weekend. And speculation that the show would not go on, given circumstances with college basketball, the NBA, and more. It was already announced a couple hours earlier today that fans would not be allowed to attend the weekend. Instead, though, good news perhaps for those who can watch on TV or listen to the radio broadcast. This series will run a 2-day, Saturday, Sunday condensed schedule, still using, of course, extreme caution for crew members and drivers who will remain this weekend.
All of us are frustrated by the position we find ourselves in, and you know, if things weren't the way they were, we'd have raised the flag today and we'd be having a great race. But the reality is that we need our entire community to be safe.
The collaboration that went into the decisions that got made today, I thought was excellent. And we believe at IndyCar that we've ended up in a good spot. So we will race. It'll be part of the championship. It'll be our first event. It'll be seen nationally and internationally.
All of the other
NASCAR will hold its final 2 races also without fans. The next 2 events, rather, coming up this weekend in Atlanta, next Sunday at Homestead Miami Speedway as well. By the way, the ripple effect continuing this afternoon as well. Major League Baseball, the latest of the leagues to say they will delay the start of their season. They're suspending spring training games. They'll move opening day back at least 2 weeks. That includes minor league baseball as well. We heard from the Indianapolis Indians this afternoon. All of the AAA, AA, single A teams are moving the start of their season back as well. They were supposed to begin on April 9th. That obviously will be moved back at least a couple of weeks from there. Just another reminder that while not necessarily the importance of sports, but the impact that it can have in a situation like this, we'll have more for you coming up tonight at 6, and surely probably something else new for you coming up tonight on the news at 11. Back to you in the studio.
Brad, as soon as we get one announcement, it seems another follows not soon after that. Well, tonight, parents are concerned as a number of schools begin to close down because of the coronavirus. So many questions.
RTV6's Stephanie Wade joins us with what we know at this time and what we are trying to find out. Stephanie.
Mark and Amanda, we are learning Zionsville, Western Boone, and Lebanon community schools will all close tomorrow through March 20th. All Wayne County schools, both public and private, will close March 23rd. And on top of that, Park Tudor and Orchard School, both on Indy's north side, closed today. Now, as you know, the first impacted was Avon Community Schools, which closed on Monday after one student there tested positive for the virus and another was showing symptoms. Families in other districts are waiting to see if they're next. Just into our newsroom moments ago, Governor Holcomb says the state will be providing school districts with a 20-day waiver. That would allow them to be exempt from the required 180 days of the school year. He says the waived days do not need to be used consecutively and can be leveraged as needed. If a school corporation has evidence of community spread or confirmed positive case for coronavirus, officials should consult with the Indiana Department of Education and the State Department of Health for additional steps. Schools should also plan for broader closures, including e-learning and remote classroom options. The Department of Education will release additional guideline details for the processing of submitting waiver requests as early as Friday. Now, schools should also follow the guidelines for non-essential gatherings as they make decisions about extracurricular activities. And of course, this is a developing story. We will keep you updated if more schools decide to close. Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
Stephanie, thank you. And right now we are awaiting a big announcement from local leaders on the coronavirus. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett and Marion County Health Department Director Dr. Virginia Kane are joining county leaders for that live update. We'll be monitoring and we will carry it live when they begin speaking in just a few minutes here. With so much information out there, we want to help you and your family navigate the coronavirus. Everything you need to know is now in one place. Just go to the IndyChannel.com.
Still ahead at 5:30, RTV6 gets answers for a frustrated resident dealing with neighborhood flooding.
But first, an historic day on Wall Street, but not in a good way. Why it's being compared to Black Monday.
And we're tracking thunderstorms non-severe at this point, and the threat will end quickly tonight. We'll talk about what follows the rain coming up.
A Beaver production.
More bad news on Wall Street. The bull market is now a bear as stocks plummeted in their worst day since October 19th, 1987. That's better known as Black Monday. The Dow Jones closed down more than 2,300 points. Of massive sell-offs continued amid the coronavirus pandemic. At one point, trading temporarily stopped as the Dow dropped 7%. Breaking news about the coronavirus in Indiana right now. Mayor Joe Hogsett, the Marion County Health Department, and county leaders are about to speak from the mayor's office downtown. Let's listen in.
In preparation for the arrival of the COVID-19 virus for some time. Since last Friday, we have remained in constant communication with the CDC and the Indiana State Department of Health, anticipating that guidance could change as to how we can best protect the residents of Marion County from this emerging and evolving public threat. Today, we have received new guidance, and we are prepared to act with immediate effect. In keeping with today's announcement by the Indiana State Department of Health, I have directed the Marion County Public Health Department to begin implementing local restrictions on all non-essential gatherings of more than 250 individuals in Indianapolis. This restriction will be in effect for 30 days, although we will continue monitoring the situation daily. In addition, I have directed the Marion County Public Health Department to work with all 13 school systems within our county, as well as mayoral-sponsored public charter schools, to close our public schools beginning next Monday, March 16th. This closure, coupled with previously planned spring break periods, will allow all of our school systems to remain closed through April 5th. As so many of you know and appreciate, the closure of a school does not simply mean lost class time. For many of our students, it has the potential to mean lost meals. That's why, working with Dr. Alicia Johnson and all of our other superintendents, I am pledging the full support of the city-county government toward ensuring that meals continue to be available throughout this school closure period. These efforts will be deemed essential government functions, and we pledge to continue serving our students and their families throughout this period of time. In addition, after conversations with the Marion County courts, I have directed the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department to issue summonses in lieu of outright arrests for nonviolent misdemeanors, subject to officer discretion that they believe an arrest is the only appropriate avenue to protect the public's safety. This, coupled with changes ordered by the courts themselves today, should ensure that we are reserving our courts and our jails for those who need to be in them. For the city-county government itself, Over the next 24 hours, we will begin implementing operational changes designed to protect our employees and the public while maintaining basic services. Additional guidance will be issued tomorrow, but those changes will include a ban on non-essential travel by city employees. Employees who can work from home are encouraged to do so beginning Monday. We will be encouraging all residents to take advantage of online government services whenever possible. And we will be putting additional resources in place to ensure these online assets can handle the additional capacity. Our public safety agencies have begun implementing operational changes designed to protect our first responders and the community as a whole. Effective immediately, our Parks Department has suspended all programming for older adults, and we are evaluating whether additional programming may need to be suspended. And working with the City County Council, we are also developing new tools for online engagement to ensure public access and public comments are still at the core of upcoming council, board, and commission meetings in light of the restrictions on large gatherings. I want to be clear that these restrictions will have serious impacts on commerce, social events, and functions planned long in advance or held every year. To those who argue these policies will be disruptive, my answer is simple. They better be. This virus and the threat it poses to our city, our state, and our country is massive. Left unchecked, it has the potential to wreak untold damage on our families and the very social safety net that protects our most vulnerable residents. As neighbors, as family members, as citizens, and as patriots, we must treat these changes not as inconveniences to bemoan, but challenges to be met. For employers, that means stepping up with common sense policies to protect your employees and their families. For the philanthropic and civic pillars of our community, it means stepping up with aid for those who will no doubt experience hardship as a result of these efforts. For our medical community and our first responders, it means exhibiting selflessness and dedication in the face of uncertainty. For each and every one of us, it means checking on our elderly neighbors, monitoring guidance from public health authorities, and above all else, embracing best practices to slow the spread of the virus. I have faith in Indianapolis. I have seen us rise up time and time again and do difficult things as one city. These things won't be easy, and there are unfortunately more difficult days ahead. But I am confident that we are up to the challenge, and we are dedicated to do all that we can to make these efforts as successful as they can be. Now, for additional information, I'm pleased to introduce and turn it over to Dr. Virginia Kane from the Marion County Public Health Department. Dr. Kane.
Thank you, Mayor. Over the past weeks, Marion County Health Department has been in frequent communication with the Office of the Mayor as we have monitored this developing COVID-19 situation in our state and across the country. Last night, we identified our second case for Marion County, Indiana. Today, we are announcing several preventative measures aimed at containing the spread of the virus and best protecting the people who call Indianapolis home. So, beginning tomorrow through Monday, for those schools who are not able to put things in place by tomorrow, I am directing all Marion County schools to close through at least April the 6th, when many of these schools will return from spring break. Now, let me just say we have not come to this decision lightly, and it has followed many discussions with the city, the county, and school superintendents. But we believe it is in the best interest of our children and our community as a whole. This is a time for students to stay home and not venture into public spaces. So we're asking child and adult care facilities should also institute social distancing and minimize large gatherings. Nursing facilities and hospitals, through we have our Patient Safety Coalition, who have asked all the hospitals to restrict and screen visitors if they have not done so already. And we want to remind that any individuals over the age of 60 or anyone with underlying health issues such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, or chronic respiratory disease should limit their public exposure. And if you are immunocompromised or your immune system is impacted, you should also be following those recommendations. And so whenever possible, arrangements should be made for food and any essential items to be delivered to these individuals. So keeping in line with this guidance, those who run senior centers or who regularly provide food for seniors should consider suspending congregate situations and arrange for home delivery of these items. We're also encouraging businesses to utilize telework policies if available. By taking everyday precautions, everyone can help reduce the spread of illnesses such as this COVID-19 coronavirus and the flu. I remind people, avoid close contact with anyone who are sick. And if you are sick, please stay at home. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. And if that's not available, then you can use a hand sanitizer that contains at least 60% alcohol or higher. And I want you to wash your hands if you're touching a lot of surfaces, especially in public places. Avoid touching your face, nose, or eyes. And I really need you to clean and sanitize your environments where you reside. And even if you have to be in a work environment, please sanitize your working areas. And I want to remind you that our mayor knows how to do the Indy bump. No shaking hands or hugging. So I'm delighted and honored to introduce our next speaker, our president of the City Council, Mr. Vop Osley.
Thank you, Dr. Kane, and thank you, Mayor, for your leadership. My message today is very, very simple and straightforward. The Council is aware of emergency plans that Marion County Health Department has in place, as Dr. Kane has said, and we encourage anyone with specific questions to contact the Health Department's hotline. I don't know that the number has been given, but 317-221-5500. And for answers to frequently asked questions, please visit the website. Members of the Council are evaluating our own processes with regard to public attendance and our own public meetings, including Monday evening's full council meeting. Now, the council stands ready to take action on any legislative proposals regarding COVID-19. And we are in the process of developing alternatives for residents who want to have input in council meetings, but prefer not to attend those meetings in person during the current public health emergency. As always, council meetings will be available on government TV and through the Channel 16 live stream, and we'll be providing live updates. Essential functions of the council staff will continue to be carried out. Non-essential staff, however, will be encouraged to work from home. Essential staff will continue to work in the office for the time being. As of this moment, a new option for providing public input to the council is now available on the council's website. It goes live at 8 a.m. tomorrow. To share your input about a proposal being pending before the council or its committee, we just ask that you would send your comments to the following: councilpublicinput@indy.gov. Knowing how important it is that we hear from our constituents and knowing how concerned they may be to be out in public, we still want to provide an avenue for them to be heard. And do understand that your comments will be delivered to our councilors and to our council for review. No less, no later than 2 hours prior to any public meeting. Again, I want to say thank you to our mayor, to our head of our public health department, to our school systems and superintendents, and all of you, because we're in this together. So let's get this done together. Thank you. Mr. Babcock.
Thank you. Paul Babcock, Director of the Mayor's Office of Public Health and Safety. I'll open it up for questions.
Yeah, Mayor, you kind of already touched on this, but I'm sure you get it as much as we do in the media, but what would you say to people that are looking around, they see all of these closures, and they say this is an overreaction? We have a dozen cases. You know, when you're talking about closures, basketball tournaments and things like that, closing down canal school, what would you say to those folks?
Well, so you know, right now we are asking everyone to, you know, be mindful of your elderly neighbors. If you're an at-risk population, stay home. We applaud and appreciate the decisions that the larger activities have made, because they've made those decisions for the best of their both fans as well as their participants, and that's why we're here today, to continue to make the best decisions that
we are tuning into a press conference where we just heard from Mayor Joe Hogsett regarding the coronavirus here in Indianapolis, along with several other city leaders. He is saying that there are more difficult days ahead, but we are taking certain precautions to prepare ourselves for that.
And the biggest points that we learned there is a restriction on gatherings more than 250 people for the next 30 days in the Indianapolis area, and all Indianapolis Marion County schools will be closed through April 6th. That's a Monday. Of course, this live news conference is still streaming on our digital services on the RTV6 app and the IndyChannel.com and the RTV6 Facebook page.
We'll be right back after this break.